Welcome back. This is Kai Redford. We've talked about goals and how some people set goals and achieve them, the successful people, and how others set goals and fail or just don't achieve them. And we've talked about the gap. What is the gap between people that set goals and achieve them and the people that set goals and don't achieve them? What's missing for those that don't achieve their goals? We've talked about the bridge, and the bridge is really a way for us to set goals and cross that bridge to manifestation, actually achieving goals. We know what to do, and we actually cross the bridge and take action and actually do what we know. Does this make sense? So this is the reason why we want to learn N.L.P, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. And what exactly is Neuro-Linguistic Programming? And how can it specifically benefit you? What can it do for you to improve your life, to give you an even better life, whether it's personal, professional? Would you like to know? Awesome. Okay. So let's start with, what is N.L.P? Simply, it is the study of human excellence. The study of human excellence. It's been around for about 30 years, and it has had a really big influence on some amazing, successful people through our recent history. First, Ronald Reagan was heavily trained, former US President Ronald Reagan, and then also Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Richard Branson, Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump. A lot of the names that we may have heard of and we may know of have studied N.L.P for a specific reason, because it has been a study of human excellence. So, would you like to know exactly sort of what it is and how it can benefit you for you in your life? Would you? Awesome. Okay, so N.L.P is a technology, set of techniques that explores the relationship between three things. First thing is neuro, so it's N.L.P, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro refers to our neurology, our nervous system, which is the place where a lot of our thought processes, our beliefs, our values are stored, and really reflects how we think. Would you agree that people that are successful have a certain way of thinking? They have a certain mindset. And people that struggle in life also have a certain way of thinking. Maybe it's a way of thinking that doesn't quite work. So the first bit is neuro, for neurology. The second section of it is linguistic, which is language. Think about it, language. And by the way, let me ask you, as far as language, who is the most important person that we talk to? Yep, that's right. If you're asking yourself who that is, it's that voice in your head. You talk to yourself. We have a self-talk, yes? In N.L.P, we call it auditory digital, which refers to our self-talk. And most people would agree that they talk to themselves all day long. Yes? And actually, if I were to go into that for a moment, I sometimes ask people, if I were to give you a tape recorder and I were to attach it to your hip and it were to record every single thought that you had in your mind, and then we went to a lab with a specialist who had this master computer where we could plug in the tape recorder and it would upload all of the thoughts that you had in a daily period, and it would look at the positive energy versus the negative energy, the thoughts that have to do with possibility and the thoughts that have to do with limitation or lack. And it were to measure what percentage of thoughts in a day are positive versus negative. What do you think might happen? What do you think might happen with most of the people that go through this study? Most people on the planet are not that successful. Would you agree? You know, there's only, what, 3 to 5% of people on the planet that are actually wealthy, and maybe a total of 10% that get by, and then another 90% that, to a degree, there's a struggle there. You know, there's a saying that most people are at least just 1 or 2 paychecks from being homeless. So we know that there's this technology that can help. So this is the reason why I'm sharing it with you. Just on another note, Deepak Chopra said we have about, it ranges 60 to 90,000 thoughts per day. And he says it's interesting because he says 95% of those thoughts are exactly the same thoughts we had yesterday. So what he's basically saying is that we're just regurgitating the same thoughts again and again and again. So when I said language, what I was referring to first is the language that we have to ourselves. What we say to ourselves about who we can be, what we can do, or what we can or can't do. Make sense? Now the other piece to language is obviously language when we speak to someone else, whether it's our loved ones, family members, whether it's at work, wherever it is. And so NLP illuminates and talks about language, that piece as well. The third piece of the puzzle, so neuro-linguistic programming. And when people hear the word programming, they go, "Oh, okay, you're not going to program me, are you?" And I laugh. I say, "Me program you?" You've been already programmed. We've been all programmed from the moment we were born. You know, we were these little babies with sponges and we're picking up all this information. And the people that did program us, that shared their ways of thinking, their beliefs, their behaviors with us from the time we were little babies to the time that, you know, we became adolescents were who? Our mom, our dad, our uncles, our aunts, our cousins, our grandparents. And then we went to, you know, school, our kindergarten teacher, first grade teacher, all the way through school. They all programmed us. Even our organizations like our churches that we've been, you know, grew up in, they're all programming us. And my question to people is, if you really look back and think about the people, and we bless them because in many cases they're our family, we love them, yes? But we're just taking an honest look at this question. If we look at the people that raised us and we ask ourselves, these are the things that we learned, ways of living, ways of thinking, beliefs, what we should do, what we shouldn't do. We learn certain things from them. If we look back at those people, in some cases they're our own family, and asked ourselves, were they even happy? Were they successful? Was my teacher early on in my life successful and happy? Did that person figure out the secret to happiness, success, and abundance, and joy and love in their life, or were they struggling? So the question is, who was my model? Was my model someone that was a model of excellence, or was my model a model of someone who didn't have great results in life? So we've been already programmed. The question is, how good is the program we have? If we look at our life, and if we're doing outstanding, then great. Program's great. And I'm sure we can agree, if we're doing really great, we can take it up a notch, yes? Take it up 2 notches. There's always more. There's always room for improvement. And if we're doing okay, maybe we can join the outstanding group. And if we're finding ourselves in a position where we're struggling, then maybe we can look at what is the programming that I have, and what can I do to update the software of my mind. Think of it like your phone, like your computer. What do? We get software updates, or sometimes we just update the whole entire phone. We get the latest version, or we update the computer to a faster processor with greater memory, with the latest technologies. And what we notice is the computer or the phone works better, smarter, faster, and brings about a lot more convenience. So we get things done quicker to a higher level of effectiveness. So that's what we're talking about. So NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, explores the relationship between those 3 things. Neuro, how we think; linguistic, which is language, how we communicate; and programming, which is our patterns of behavior and our emotions. And here's the thing. It illuminates that when all those 3 things are on the same page, you have power. You have influence. When you walk into a room, people sense that about you. You're aligned. Everything is on the same page. You have a certain level of confidence, a certain focus, an air of you know, just an essence, a quality, a leadership quality about you. People seem to flock and be attracted to a person like that. We could call it magnetism, whatever that may be. Now, having that level of magnetism is useful, wouldn't you say? Powerful, wouldn't you say? For your life, personal life, for your relationships, and also for your business, correct? Awesome. So that's what NLP is illuminating. It also illuminates the reverse, which means that if how we think, the neurology, language, linguistic, how we communicate, and programming our patterns of behavior and our emotions, it illuminates that if all those three things are not on the same page, if they're out of alignment, if they're, almost like Napoleon Hill, he had mentioned, Napoleon Hill, the author of the book Think and Grow Rich, he said once, as the twig is broken, so shall the tree grow. As the twig is broken, so shall the tree grow. In other words, if through the different learnings early on, if there's something off, if the person, how they think is not in alignment with their true potential, their true essence, as a successful, potentially very successful, happy person growing up, if they're out of alignment with that, with the way they think, they have negative thinking. Or language, if they constantly use language that talks about problems and what they can't do, or they're not good enough, or not smart enough, or how this is too hard, or it's too impossible, if they use negative language or negative thinking, or even the programming part, which has to do with a lot to do with behavior and emotions, if their behavior is out of alignment, which means it doesn't match their words. I mean, do you know someone who says one thing and their behavior doesn't match their words? They do the exact opposite. In fact, it seems like they don't keep their word. They don't even keep their word with themselves. They say they're going to do something to improve their business, and then they don't do it. Or they say they're going to do something to improve their health, and they don't do it. So what happens is we see a person like that, no judgment on it. We just know that everybody innately, I believe, are good people. Just certain people have challenges and need some kind of help. Make sense? So we see that, and there's an air of, this person isn't a strong leader. This person doesn't really know what they're doing. This person isn't aligned. And what happens is when people notice that, even if they do come for a little bit to help, support, once they notice that person is out of alignment, their behavior doesn't match their words, what usually happens? We lose trust, and we lose respect to a degree with that person. And so what support they could have had ends up going away, and then they find themselves sometimes alone, because nobody can quite trust that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. And what happens with that person is typically then life shows up as a struggle. Make sense? So there's two ways of looking at really the same thing, which is alignment. People that are aligned get to achieve their goals and dreams faster, have more to contribute to the world, and people that are out of alignment have a struggle. Their life shows up a struggle, and they need help. So that's a little bit of what NLP is, and also a little bit of why it's important for us to learn it, so that we can do what? We can actually get aligned. We can get our thoughts, so our neurology, our nervous system, our thoughts, our beliefs, our values, we can get that aligned with our language. We say what we think, and it's all towards what our focus and our outcomes are in life. And then we can get our behavior to match our words, so everything is almost perfectly in alignment. Make sense? So would you like to learn how to become even more aligned? To align all those three things that I've just shared with you, all on the same page, so you can really tap into your true full potential. Yes? Awesome. Awesome. I will see you on the next video.